Skybound Entertainment and the creators of Dead Space want to make the most terrifying game ever. Cyberpunk was hacked, not The Onion. And Disney is closing the animation studio behind the Ice Age movies. All that and the latest in everything cool today in the Rundown. Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for finding me in the Electric Playground. This episode is dedicated to our buddy Blair Farrell, who was commenting on Warner Brothers patent news yesterday, saying that he's playing Jedi Fallen Order, and thankfully, From didn't patent the Souls genre, otherwise it wouldn't exist. Well, thankfully nobody patented survival horror games because we've got a very cool and creepy one to look forward to. At the Game Awards back in December, a brand new survival horror game called the Callisto Protocol was unveiled, and it's being developed by Striking Distance Studios, which is headed up by Glenn Schofield, who's a veteran in the video game industry, who's worked at Eidos and at Electronic Arts, working on titles like From Russia with Love and Knockout Kings, but also famously, he's the co-creator of the Dead Space franchise, which is a long-dormant IP that EA has been sitting on. So it looks like Glenn Schofield, who later went to work on some Call of Duty games with Sledgehammer Games and Activision, has spun off his own team and his own studio to work on something that feels quite similar and looks a little bit like Dead Space. The Callisto Protocol actually takes place in the PUBG universe, and it's a narrative, single-player focused scare fest. The game is set a couple of hundred years in the future on Jupiter's moon Callisto, and they're a prisoner inside of this cell that gets invaded by aliens, and you've got to survive this invasion, and there are duplicitous people on the inside that know what's going on, and so there's going to be lots of murder and backstabbing and people ripped apart in probably some gruesome ways. The promise from the studio is that this is going to be the most terrifying video game ever made, and anybody that's played Dead Space games knows that this person and the team that he's assembled, many of which are Dead Space veterans, are up to the task. Those Dead Space games are absolutely terrifying. So what we get out of this little cinematic teaser here is this robotic prison guard walking past this hapless prisoner who's about to be consumed by this grotesque thing, and then some evil overlord, warden type is looking in on what's happening inside of the prison as if they know exactly what's going on this hellscape moon. It looks like it's going to be claustrophobic and super sci-fi and super slick. It's being developed for the modern machines. It's going to take advantage of all of the technology that's out there, including the haptic controls in the PlayStation 5 DualSense. Now it's one of the games that I cannot wait for in 2022, even though I know it's going to freak me the F out. Oh man, getting total Dead Space vibes off of this. And hopefully this is all that EA needs to see for them to go, wait a second, we've got something cool like this. We should make a Dead Space game. And another cool thing with the Callisto Protocol is that it's Skybound Entertainment that's going to be publishing the game. So this is Robert Kirkman's company, which of course has, tendrils into all kinds of other media. So presumably there's lots of other stuff in the works around this. And I think what this also does is it entrenches the PUBG universe in some very interesting ways, and allows the developers that are working on the Battle Royale stuff and all of the other things going on out there to kind of think about how big their universe can go. Can't wait for this one. Comes out in 2022. And maybe by the year 2022 is when we're going to see all the drama surrounding Cyberpunk 2077 disappear. The troubles over at CD Projekt Red are continuing. Not only are the patches still ongoing for their Cyberpunk 2077 game, but late last night, CD Projekt Red revealed that they are victims of a targeted cyber attack, which is awful irony. They said in a letter, an unidentified actor gained unauthorized access to our internal network, collected certain data belonging to CD Projekt Capital Group, and left a ransom note, the content of which we released to the public. Although some devices in our network have been encrypted, our backups remain intact. We have already secured our IT infrastructure and begun restoring the data. Now, this is just horrible news, and it compounds all of the struggles and all of the turmoil that's been happening over at CD Projekt Red since they launched Cyberpunk 2077 and disappointed hundreds of thousands of people around the world with the release, which they're trying to make up. And unfortunately, what happens now for the company is they've got to deal with this situation. They've sent out tweets to former employees to warn them that some of their data might have been breached. The hackers have been able to obtain some pretty incredible and valuable data. They wrote in their note, "Your have been epically postponed. There's lots of spelling mistakes in this. We have dumped full copies of the source codes from your Perforce server for Cyberpunk 2077, Witcher 3, Gwent, and the unreleased version of Witcher 3, which presumably is the next-gen version of the game. Likely there's going to be a PS5 and Xbox Series version of Witcher 3 down the pipeline. There's a threat of releasing all of this information to gaming journalists, and there's a distinct possibility that these games are going to be out in the wild and people are going to be able to download them all over the place. And of course, law enforcement is already on this. CD Projekt has said that they've got IT forensics on it, and they've also got the president of the Personal Data Protection Office on this. They're probably going to be working with groups all over the world to try to track down the perpetrators here. I suspect they're going to be caught. I don't think that this is probably the most sophisticated hacker group in the world right now, but who knows? It's just a terrible situation, and my heart goes out to the folks at CD Projekt Red, especially the developers who have just been working hard to make an awesome game with Cyberpunk 2077. Now they've got to deal with all this crap, and all of the former employees that were tied into this mess now have got to go back and deal with a whole bunch of stuff as well. I just want this drama to end, and I want this game to be completed and polished and live up to the expectations that we had for this title all the way along. And I firmly believe that's what the months ahead are going to prove out for CD Projekt Red. I think they're going to redeem themselves and make good on a lot of their promises. But yes, they've got a ton of work to do, and now they've got all of this mess to clean up. I'm sure there's going to be a further update, and I'll talk about it in a future episode of The Rundown. And now I've got some other unfortunate news. A very entertaining and prolific animation studio is being closed down. Blue Sky Studios, a production company responsible for a string of animated hits for Fox, is being closed down by its new parent company, Disney, effective April of this year. This is the company that built the Ice Age franchise. They built Ferdinand. They also did the Peanuts movie. Their most recent film was Spies in Disguise with Will Smith and Tom Holland. And over the years, they've brought in billions of dollars in ticket sales for Fox. But as part of Disney's platform and their Disney Animated Studios and Pixar, it looked like things were always a little bit precarious for Blue Sky. And then, of course, the pandemic has hit, and Disney has been pinched on all corners, especially in the theme parks and the theatrical revenues that they could be bringing in. So they've had to make the tough decision to close Blue Sky Studios, and there are 450 employees that are affected by this decision. There was also a fantasy-themed animated movie called Nimona that was in the works, and that movie has been canceled. So this is a really heavy, dramatic development in Hollywood. We don't normally see a whole studio just go away like this, especially with this many full-time people employed. Now, it's said that Disney's going to try to do what it can to move people around to different divisions within its overall structure, and I'm sure a lot of these folks are going to be all right for work, but this is a massive disruption for Disney and for Blue Sky, obviously, and for Hollywood in general, and the repercussions are going to be felt for a long time. The Ice Age franchise is going to continue as part of the Disney Plus platform, and the potential is always there for Disney to revisit some of these other properties that Blue Sky was able to create. But yeah, Blue Sky Studios is disappearing, and that's weird because we've seen that brand on a lot of movies over the years. My heart goes out to all of the employees affected by this move, and hopefully everybody can find work quickly and move on to some very cool projects. And who knows, maybe it's going to be Netflix, who is committed to investing a ton into new animated works, is going to be a new home for some of these people. And finally, check this out. It's a little taste of the gameplay that we can look forward to in Evil Genius 2. I remember playing the first Evil Genius and having a great time with it. This one looks really detailed. It's all about building your own lair as this evil boss type that's trying to take over the world. They call it Spy-Fi, which I really like. And of course, you get infiltrated by agents that try to take down your empire. You try to take over the world. You can capture people and train your minions and put all kinds of traps into your lair and send them out on all kinds of missions. It looks like a total blast. It's very, very detailed. And I'm really digging all of these really slick animations that we're seeing as these minions are cruising around inside your lair. This one comes out in March, so look forward to Evil Genius 2, but it looks pretty damn cool to me. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for the rundown today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow with another episode for you. Thank you to every one of our subscribers out there, especially our long-term subscribers, and of course, all of our EPN members. We'll see you tomorrow, and until then, play forever.